Okay. We're live.
What did everybody think?
I like it.
I loved it.
I liked it.
It was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
It was very unexpected.
I
There's
think
some parts of it I liked and some parts I didn't.
It might be the most violent movie we've watched.
Yeah, that part I really didn't like.
Yeah, there was a lot of blood.
Yeah, I like the action. I think that's
Tarantino
awesome.
style. He just like plays around so many things. I like how he has like, it's not a linear thing. It kind
The
of like
animation.
Yeah.
And like the
I
black.
felt like every single big moment that happened, I was just absolutely shook. Like I was not expecting anything.
Fucking Buck, who likes to fuck. I was like so.
Yeah, so obviously like I know Lindsay and I are leading the discussion for tomorrow, so I actually took the time to take some decent notes during this instead of just relying on my brain to remember everything. So obviously since we like purposefully chose this movie because there's a female lead, I was focusing on that, so I just wanted to talk through some notes that I wrote about that. So like from the beginning, I kind of noticed how like she was dressed when she walked into the house with when she was like knife fighting the black lady, and she was like not dressed super girly or like super tomboy. Like she was dressed like a normal like person, you know? So I thought that was like probably purposeful, and like I liked that. I also like picked up on the line that that the black lady said to her when what did she say? Or no. Uma Thurman, who's the actress, she was like, I'm rational, like not compassionate, merciful, or forgiving. And like obviously like women are always said to be like irrational or like hot-headed or whatever, and usually are known for being like the compassionate like mother figure. And like she blatantly says like, I am rational and I'm not this. Like I'm here for revenge and that's my mission, you know? So I picked up on that. I also saw, did anyone pick up that like when during the detective scene, like when the detective came in to like examine the scene in El Paso, he was like looking at the bride and was like talking about like, oh, her like beautiful big eyes, like her like blah blah blah, like only like commenting on her physical features, and then she spits on him.
Yeah, what did you say?
Yeah, sister.
Yeah. He said something right after that, which commented on her being a woman or something like that.
Yeah, so I thought that was definitely, thought it was kind of funny, but purposeful.
So do you think this movie is like a feminist movie?
I wouldn't really call it a feminist movie, but like I think that it's not us. Like,
Okay, wait. I got major Charlie's Angels vibes from this movie.
I've never seen it.
Also, because it's like one of the same actors is in it.
Yep. Like the entire time we were watching it, I was getting Charlie's Angels vibes, but then the violence just was not equivalent at all.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
It wasn't that cheesy. Like Charlie's Angels is kind of cheesy in a way. And I mean, Tarantino has some aspects of being cheesy in his movies, but like I think he did a good job of making her seem like a really strong lead character. And all of the characters that she was fighting against, though they had their faults, like they were all strong in them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is like a feminist movie, but I would say that it has like one of the parts of it is just having like strong women within the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in that aspect it's a feminist movie, but I don't think the entire social commentary or like plot surrounds around like empowerment of women or anything.
Especially if women are fighting women, I don't think that represents feminism. Like we stand together, we don't fight each other. So I think it was just like a way that the director created a women's movie, or like he probably got backlash on not having women, and then he wanted to make a women's movie or something like that.
I think she was a really good like female lead and like definitely like total badass and a really good character. But I think the movie's like actually like not like pro-feminist at all, because I still think like the women were like somewhat sexualized like a little bit, and like they're obviously all very attractive, and like no one would look like that after they got shot in the head.
Yeah.
And then also like the amount of violence, I still feel like it's like catered towards a male audience, but like having the female lead.
Well, I loved it, and like I didn't like Fight Club that much, and I didn't care for the violence there, and I loved this. Like I loved this action. Like I thought it was awesome.
Did you just like what did you like? Did you like the violence? Or
I thought it was because she was such a badass woman. Like she was just like her moves. It was so cool. I just like I think it was so cool how like you could hear the like Japanese guy in the background like talking, and like it was very like mind over matter, and I like that she like had a mission and like she was completing it, and I don't know, I thought she was really cool.
I liked it too, and I thought it was really cool. Like she was like beating all of like the Japanese people with like her like samurai sword, and like was like one person versus like 100.
Some parts were really cool because she was such a badass and like was doing all these really like awesome moves, but then like some of the like violent or like bloody parts I felt like were just too much. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no reason for blood to be like spurting out of the girl's arm after she cut it off for 5 seconds. Like there are some parts that I think were just too much with the blood and like graphic scenes, but I did like some of the violence.
I thought the storytelling piece of like when she gets up in the car and she's like staring for 13 hours trying to wiggle her toe and like start moving again. I thought that piece of it, because it went out and like told another story and then went back to her, and it was like, but first wiggle your big toe.
I like that part. I did a little bit of research, and so they're like talking about how this film, like, is it a feminist film? And they said it had like a survival energy for women, and that it like inspired women who are in like bad situations and stuff. But then it also talked about Tarantino, the director, and the actor Uma Thurman. Like in the second film, I guess, he like makes her do this car crash scene where he like actually
I read that too.
He made her go like 40 miles an hour and like crash the car and get like thrown out, and she had like lifelong injuries from this, and he like forced her to do it. And then also they're saying like, you know, like the scene with like the little like ball and the chain and like the bodyguards trying to like fight her.
Yeah.
Chain. Yeah.
Oh, Tarantino actually was the one choking her with that chain. Like the actor wasn't doing it. He was the one choking her, and then like when another character spit on her, Tarantino was the one who like spit on her.
Why?
So they're saying that like it was so hard for this to be a feminist film because it's like about like they want equality, but like this power dynamic between Tarantino and Uma Thurman, like he was like forcing her to do these things. It was like the one choking her to get like an authentic, like what it would actually look like. So then after like that second movie, she never worked with him again.
My mom and sister and I were talking about that, and we were talking about how like, yes, at face value this movie seems like a total badass, like all of that stuff, but then you read into it more and like it's not at all. Like on set, like there is no sense of equality, and like knowing that
shot her in the head because she left him.
And like knowing that now, it makes me not like the film as much at all.
Yeah.
Also, like in Inglourious Bastards, I don't know if you remember, like Bridget von Hammersmark, the blonde German actress. Like when she was getting choked to death by like the Nazi, it was actually Tarantino, like the director, doing it.
That's so weird. Also, like the whole movie, the premise behind it is like Kill Bill, but it's still a movie about like finding one man. Like it's ambiguous, but like it's about a man, like the end goal. It's, you know?
Yeah. I didn't like
it totally sets up a power dynamic where like the entire film is still about Bill, even though like she's the main character.
I was thinking that like it's called Kill Bill and that's the ultimate goal or like what she wants to do, but she's like going through and killing so many different women to like reach him, if that makes sense. That's like still a hierarchy or like a patriarchy of like him killing a bunch of, or her killing a bunch of women to be able to finally kill like a man.
Yeah. So like tearing down and like killing a bunch of women for the purpose of like a guy.
Right. And that's why I feel like it's not a feminist movie. It just has like some strong female lead.
Yeah. Agree.
Okay, question. I wanted to know what y'all thought about the theme of masochism in this movie. Because, Lindsay, you have something?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you, like, shook your head. Okay, well, there were, like, two, like, main things that, like, made me think of that.
Line.
What?
There was a specific line about masochism.
Yeah, exactly. It was at the very beginning, like, when Bill was shooting her, and he was saying, like, this isn't, what did he say?
When he was like wiping her face with the handkerchief.
Yeah. He was like, this isn't like blah blah blah. This is like masochism. And then like obviously like her like she was in the coma ward and was about to get raped by that guy. And that's like very like masochistic too, I feel. And gross. So I was wondering what y'all thought about that. If y'all thought that had to do with the objectification of women. Or if y'all picked up on that. And I don't know. I feel like I don't completely agree with y'all like about the previous point. Like I don't think that this is like a like title like feminist movie, but I do think that there's a lot of things that he did well with this. And like I don't know, I think you might be overlooking some things such as like with Oren, like in Japan, like she was the leader of the council, like the one guy who disagreed, everyone else was like yes, like she's the best, like woo, like yay, our leader. And, like not even like putting like gender to it. And it was the one guy who was like, I don't want some like Japanese Chinese bitch, like obviously like bringing gender into it, doing it, and then he gets his head chopped off. So I don't know, I don't completely agree with y'all, but y'all brought up some good points too.
I think that like he did such a good job of hiding his like the like patriarchy over women throughout the movie by like having all these very strong female roles. And like yes, he implemented things where they were the leaders in many situations, but like what Lindsay was saying, where like I mean as a director's point of view, like choking and like just in the real world, like not talking about in the movie sense, like him taking that role, I think that's like it's more telling about the movie than the movie itself.
Okay, I mean, I guess I'm not talking about, I think like I'm talking more about the movie than the real world, because obviously we know the real world is not a place where like women are always in like positions of power. And I also noticed that like Harvey Weinstein's name came up in the credits.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think maybe I'm drawing too big of a line between the movie and the real world, but I was trying to just focus on the movie.
What do you think was like one thing I like couldn't figure out when watching the movie was like, is there like a social commentary? Because like watching it, I was like, this is just like an action movie where like there's like a badass woman, but like I don't think the social commentary is like feminist or anything like that. So like, what would the social commentary be?
Wait, did anybody watch the second part of it?
I have.
I'm gonna do it tonight.
I don't know what it's like anymore.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say like maybe the second part is a little bit more about it.
I was wondering the same thing, Lindsay, because while I was watching it, I couldn't really find anything specifically about the social commentary or anything that I could really relate to, like society or anything that we've talked about in the past or like in previous movies. So for me, it was hard to find it, but I was wondering the same thing. So if anyone has any ideas.
I was actually like kind of surprised because before this class, like I never watched a movie and was like, wow, like what are they really trying to say? Like what's the social commentary? But I feel like I've pretty easily like figured out with all of the other movies what it was. Like, but I couldn't for this movie.
Yeah, me too.
I agree with that.
So maybe that'll be something good to talk about tomorrow if anyone has any ideas about social commentary.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Also, like in the last movie, Fight Club, Tyler was unnamed as the main character for like the whole entire time until we found out that he was Tyler. But like, what about her being unnamed or like her name being bleeped throughout the movie? Like, I couldn't really put my finger on what that was trying to be like.
In my opinion, it made her more like badass and mysterious. Like you didn't really
Wait, is her name ever revealed? Like, is
No,
that,
it leaped
on
out.
the first one.
like for all of them? I mean,
I don't know.
It must be in the second one because I was like reading about it. Her name is Beatrix Kiddo.
Yeah, but he does call her kiddo in the very first scene when he talks about like masochism, like you were just saying, Chelsea. But like no one would assume that her name is kiddo. Like it kind of just makes it seem like he's like saying that she's less than him because
That's actually interesting because when she was like the bride, well, she was called the bride for a while, but then also she had a different name, like when she was living under that different identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the hospital, she was Jane Doe. So she like kind of like didn't have a name.
Yeah.
Or like she was the Black Mamba.
Wait, in the hospital, she was a Jane Doe.
Yeah, that's what like
who
the
was Black Mamba?
nurse guy said when he was like letting people.
Oh yeah, when he's explaining her.
When they said Black Mamba, all I could think about was Kobe. I was like,
I know, that's where his nickname came from.
what? Really?
Her. Yeah, I like looked up all these facts.
Jeez. I was like, did they take this from Kobe?
Yeah.
Like, guess not.
They also named in 2013. They named a lethal wasp, like from her character.
Lindsay's gonna be spitting facts tomorrow.
Yeah. Trying to think about other parents. Oh, what did you guys think about the part that was like cartoon? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really cool, but what do you guys think the like purpose of it was? Like why didn't they just make it normal like the rest of it?
I think a lot of the parts that were like too hard to watch were either like cartoon or black and white.
So you think it has to do with like how violent it was?
Okay, I did not like how they switched from black and white to regular. That bothered me. That just seemed very cheesy and like, I don't know. I just felt like, you know how in a lot of films sometimes they'll cut to like a black screen before they like like as a mechanism to help transition. That just feels like lazy to me. So I don't know why.
They like had to make it in black and white because they couldn't put it in theaters otherwise. Because it was like way too much like blood or whatever.
When did this movie come out?
But there's so much blood in other scenes. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of blood in general.
But
when her arm gets cut off, that woman.
Hmm?
When that woman's arm gets cut off, it's like a massive pool of blood.
Or when she cuts off the guy's head and it was literally a fountain of blood. Wait, when did this movie come out?
The 90s, like the early 90s. It was his third movie after like Pulp Fiction and one other. I don't know the other one.
Wait, does Pulp Fiction have any black and white in it?
I haven't seen it.
Like maybe that's, I don't know if that's
Inglourious Bastards? Did Inglourious Bastards have black and white? Or Django? I feel like
Django black and white with the
Django did?
Maybe it didn't.
I think Django might have.
Yeah, I think it did.
Plays around a lot with the editing.
Also, Inglourious Bastards had the same like chapters,
Yeah,
and so does Pulp Fiction. So.
Oh yeah, the chapters I thought were interesting.
And so does Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, I saw that.
So.
Thank you, Bailey.
No, yeah, but I think with the scene of where it was like an anime style, I just thought that was really interesting how he applied to like a whole other audience in the world. Like you don't see that often at all, and I thought it was really cool to see.
I agree. I really liked it. I think it made sense because obviously it was going into Oren's background, and a big part of, you know, Japanese culture is that like animated, you know, anime, I guess you would say. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really cool. And even though it was like cartoon, I was about to tear up. I was really sad.
Yeah, that was
yeah, it pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. So I thought that was a great stylistic choice.
I didn't watch the second one yet, but I thought the ending of the first one was like as soon as they said like, does she know like her daughter's still alive? That like really made me want to watch the second one.
Yeah.
Cool. Does anyone have any other input?
This was
Good luck tomorrow leading the film discussion.
Yeah, wait, we never rated it.
Yeah, what's your rating?
Wait, did it? What'd you say?
Your rating.
I'd say 9.
9.
I would give it a 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
I was thinking it like a 7.
Ariana texted me and she was like, "This movie is so gross." I was like, "Yeah, I know." Literally.
The entire time, because it was like really late when I was watching it, and I was like alone for the beginning part of it, and I was just like, it was just, I don't know, I was just not expecting any of it, and
I closed my eyes every time that got too graphic.
Am I weird for liking it? Is that like weird? Y'all are making me seem like a freaking crazy person.
I feel like it's good because we can bring up different points.
No, but y'all can call on me because I'll definitely talk about it with you guys too. I just couldn't say anything in the last class. I was like, I'm mute.
Babe,
Right
just lead it with us and get extra credit.
now. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be like, okay, Maeve is also a leader today.
All right. Facts. I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, guys, y'all want to wrap this up?
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Randall.